Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely. We'll be with you here for the next couple of hours talking about sports on a local, regional, and national basis, as we typically do. Coming to you from the Lee Company studios, again, of our respective homes. We've got Columbia surrounded. Wade is coming at you from Pulaski. I'm up here in Franklin. And Wade, is it as yucky out your window as it is out mine?
It ain't pretty, Mo. I'm just here to tell you. And the bad part, the sad part, is about 10 a.m. this morning. It was picture perfect. Things were looking great. Birds were chirping. And then the bottom fell out. And now it's back to miserable, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, well, it's true what they say. If you don't like the weather in Middle Tennessee, just hang on for about 10 minutes or so and it'll change for you. So, yeah. Got a great show today despite the ugliness outside. In the second hour, we will be joined by the Tennessee Secondary Schools Athletics Association's Assistant Executive Director, Emily CROWELL. She's going to bring us up to date on a couple of recent developments involving a couple of spring sports. So looking forward to talking to her about a little softball and about a little girls flag football. Also, in our next segment, we will be visiting with Tennessee State Athletics Director MIKKI Allen. They've got a big weekend over on campus this weekend, particularly tomorrow night. And as far as tomorrow night's event goes, if you don't have tickets, you won't get tickets. So we can tell you about it, but we hear you knocking, but you can't come in. Sorry about that. But we'll talk more about that in the next segment with Dr. Allen. Looking forward to that. Also going to talk a little Braves. Very little, because the Mets just scored again to make it 8-3 in the top of the seventh. So not looking forward to that. And I know Wade's not looking forward to talking a whole lot of Astros right now either, after giving up 9 in the first at Kansas City. So
woof.
You know, we may not talk a whole lot of baseball, but we did have a local pick up a big victory in a historic venue last night. So we will talk a little bit about that. Also, it's Thursday. We typically give you our Tennessee Sports Writers Association's Players of the Week for baseball and softball, and we will do that, among other things, in the grab bag at the end of the show, including what is Kentucky going to do?
Golly. It's never easy, right?
And no, but it felt like it would be easier for them than for a lot of other people, you know?
Yep. And if you're a Louisville fan, you had your own issues a couple weeks ago. Now you're kind of sitting back and just cackling and twirling your mustache a little bit right now.
Well, you're twirling even further after you took the time to, buy Oakland University gear and make donations to the Oakland University Athletic Department and that kind of thing. So now, if you are a U of L fan, you are adding insult to injury literally right now. So, but that's never a dull moment in that UK U of L rivalry, and this is another log on that fire. So we'll be keeping watch on that as well.
I'll just say this, Mo. You and in particular you and Chris do a great job of putting the show together on a day-to-day basis. How'd you like to be Kentucky sports radio these days? I mean,
how hard is it?
Some days, I mean, hey, it's just easy. And right now is one of them times if you're working in Kentucky right now.
It's one of those deals where you just walk in, sit down, flip the mic on, and let's go. It's kind of like I always said, I would love to have been a Philadelphia 76ers beat writer when Charles Barkley was there, because you just walk up and turn your tape recorder on and just let him spew for however long.
Let it rip, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, this and Louisville fans got to feel pretty good because they got their guy, or they got a guy. I don't know if he was their guy or not, but they got their coaching search out of the way. And obviously Kentucky didn't necessarily feel like they were going to have one until they did. So it's wild.
So of all the schools in Kentucky, you got Western and Moorhead that hire their coaches lickety split, and then it's Louisville and Kentucky are the ones that kind of seemingly had trouble to get their guy.
Yeah, and Murray State's just kind of sitting there saying, thank goodness.
Yeah, not us. Thank goodness. You're right.
Yeah, yep. I mean, whoever the Murray State coach is, I guess, is the dean of coaches.
I think it's
Northern Kentucky, I guess, right?
Yes. Well, the interesting thing with Murray, you did say Murray, right?
I did say Murray.
Yeah, Murray's. I forgot about this till earlier this year. They got Steve Prohm back from Iowa State.
Right. Yeah.
But so technically, by the letter of the law, this is a second stint. Otherwise, yeah, he would be the guy. But
yeah,
some of these other schools in Kentucky saying, yeah, it ain't so easy sometimes. UK.
Have fun with that. Yeah. We are now going to, as we typically do about this time, give you yesterday's results and what we have as today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
To the rundown we go. And again, results have been thin this week, thanks to Mother Nature, but we do have some for you. And we start with baseball. On the diamond yesterday, Riverdale was a 7-5 winner over Blackman. Grace Christian Franklin defeated Columbia Academy 8-4. Oakland wins a one-run ball game 7-6 versus Friendship Christian. Independence 12, Brentwood 2. Wilson Central shut out Lebanon 1-0 was your score there. Hillsboro took care of MLK 14-2. MBA was a 5-2 winner over CPA. Father Ryan took care of Pope John Paul 12-4 was your score in that ball game. 12-1 was a Siegel win over Rockvale. 15-0 in favor of Cookville as they took on Smyrna yesterday afternoon. Stewart's Creek with a 10-0 win versus Laverne. And Clarksville knocked off Brentwood Academy 5-2. Didn't have any softball scores to speak of yesterday. We only had one boys soccer matchup, and it was Riverdale and Murfreesboro Central Magnet. Probably a pretty good game, even though it ended in a 1-1 draw. Two really good teams there. NBA score from last night. The Grizzlies fell to the Cavaliers 110-98. The Astros fell to the Royals 11-2. We mentioned yesterday that the Mets and Braves were postponed. The Sounds, Mo, were also postponed. So it's not just the high schools getting affected. We've seen some professional squads also getting impacted by the rain here.
Absolutely. That Sounds game out at Memphis will be made up as part of a doubleheader tomorrow. We'll talk more about that tomorrow with Jeff Hem, the Nashville Sounds play-by-play announcer. So stick around for that tomorrow. Baseball schedules today. Again, check your local listings. 4:30 starts scheduled for Franklin Road Academy at Ensworth, as well as Grace Christian of Franklin at the Webb School. At 5, Cornersville is supposed to be at Eagleville. Gallatin is hosting Clarksville Northwest, theoretically. Hampshire goes to Hickman County. Springfield is at Joe Burns. Westmoreland travels to Macon County. Santa Fe hosting Frank Hughes. Creekwood goes to Waverly. At 5:30, Mount Pleasant is scheduled at Wayne County. 6 o'clock, Kirkwood at Clarksville Academy. Also, Culleoka hosting Collinwood. Clarksville Northeast traveling to Dixon County. Maplewood is at Ezel Harding. Giles County goes to Forest. Gordonsville hosts Watertown. Martin Luther King travels to Harpeth. Lawrence County taking on visiting Brooks of Alabama. Columbia Central goes to Middle Tennessee Christian. Santa Fe is at Richland. Rockvale goes to Siegel. At 6:15, Eagleville hosting Community. 6:30 starts for East Hickman at Battleground Academy. Glencliff at Hume Fogg. Loretta hosting Arlington. Smyrna at Oakland. Franklin going to Page at 6:30. Also Good Pasture at Rossview. Lawson at Columbia Academy. That's a 7 o'clock start, or so it's listed. Also Cheatham County is at East Nashville at 7. Station Camp goes to Hendersonville at 7. And Maplewood, I guess that's a doubleheader between Maplewood and Ezel Harding with game 2 at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, get them in when you can, I guess. If you can get one in, try and get two in the way this week has gone. Softball scores, our softball schedule for today. Clarksville Academy and DCA will play. DCA, your host, these games beginning at 4:30 p.m. Davidson County traveling to Good Pasture. Hume Fogg will host Lawson this afternoon. Pope John Paul II will entertain Brentwood Academy at home. Martin Luther King will travel to St. Cecilia Academy. 5 o'clock games tonight. Portland is at Greenbrier. East Robertson traveling to Joe Burns. Loretto visits Lewis County this evening. Summertown scheduled to visit Mount Pleasant tonight. Ezel Harding at Nashville Christian. Warren County will travel to Spring Hill tonight. Also, wrapping up our 5 o'clock window, Zion Christian is scheduled to travel to Clarksville Christian. 5:30 games now. BGA set to host Columbia Academy. Clarksville is set to host Springfield. Murfreesboro Central Magnet tentatively scheduled to come to Giles County. Hillsboro is set to visit John Overton. Lawrence County at Marshall County, game being played in Lewisburg tonight. Rockvale is at Riverdale. 6 o'clock games tonight. Smyrna at Laverne. Siegel visiting Oakland. Santa Fe is at Richland tonight. Lebanon is at Cookeville. Stewart's Creek is at Wilson Central. And a 7 o'clock start tonight. Zion Christian scheduled to play Clarksville Christian. Again, I guess one of those potential double headers. Boys soccer, a couple of schedule items here. These games beginning at 5 o'clock. Clarksville Academy is at Ezel Harding. Good Pasture traveling to Friendship Christian. Madison Academy is at Springfield. Knowledge Academies will visit STEM Academy tonight. Middle Tennessee Christian at Webb School. Now 6 o'clock games. Hickman County is at Harpeth. Culleoka was scheduled to go to Richland. My intel tells me that game was canceled. Mo, wasn't even canceled today. It was canceled Monday, supposedly.
Okay.
But I digress. We'll see if they play or not. Hopefully they get it in. That's a district game between those two teams. Clarksville Northwest is at Rossview. Spring Hill at Shelbyville. Watertown at Summertown tonight. Loretto traveling to Wayne County.
Stop. Watertown's at Upperman.
Watertown at Upperman. Thank you. Beg pardon. Watertown and Upperman at 6. Loretto at Wayne County at 6 p.m. as well, as is Smyrna at Wilson Central, and a 6:30 kickoff tonight between Kenwood, who's visiting Liberty Creek.
At 7 o'clock, Clarksville Northeast is scheduled to play at Dixon County. Montgomery Central goes to Fairview at 7. Also, Kirkwood hosting Waverly. Overton at Laverne. Stewart's Creek travels to Mount Juliet. Portland taking on visiting Greenbrier, and Hendersonville at White House. All of those are 7 o'clock scheduled first touches there. Major League Baseball, as we mentioned, Mets are up on the Braves 10-3. I think it's through 7 now. Astros and Royals, it is Kansas City 9. The Astros just scored in the top of the 4th, so it's 9-1 Kansas City in that one. And at 6:45 tonight, out at AutoZone Park in Memphis, the host Redbirds take on the Sounds as they resume their 6-game series over there. That is your rundown. Top story brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly over in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious daily deli lunch options, as well as their hand-cut meats. And everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia, your top story sponsor. And top story today is actually from yesterday. Apparently, O.J. Simpson died Wednesday after a battle with prostate cancer in Las Vegas at the age of 76. His family announced that. I guess I saw it first thing this morning, and obviously it's a very polarizing subject, I guess, Wade.
Yeah, that's the simplest way to put it and the most blunt way to put it. And this is number one, it's shocking in the sense that I don't know that how many people really knew that he was going through what he was going through. Right. And his last, I'm scrolling through his Twitter feed. He still had a Twitter post, which are legendary for a variety of reasons. But his last Twitter post came in February, early February. And then 4 hours ago, they officially posted that, saying that OJ had lost that battle to cancer. So number one, that caught me off guard. Number two, you're right, extremely polarizing for a variety of reasons. And I've always been fascinated by OJ. Never got to see him play, obviously. Was only familiar with the other part of his life where he was kind of so famous or infamous in this case.
Infamous, yeah.
It was that you just can't. Everybody, it's crazy. It's just fascinating to me that you say his name and you're going to get an instant reaction one way or another from virtually everybody in the United States.
Very, like I said, very polarizing. The family's post on his Twitter/X account on April 10th, our father, Orenthal James Simpson, succumbed to his battle with cancer. He was surrounded by his children and grandchildren. During this time of transition, his family asked that you please respect their wishes for privacy and grace. Obviously, former Heisman Trophy winner at Southern Cal, stellar running back for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I remember, I might have seen him play. I was very young at the time, but I specifically remember, one of the snow games that you get from time to time in Buffalo, and he just seemed to glide even in those awful conditions. Obviously, with everything that went on with him post playing career, it's tough to separate, but just dealing with him strictly on the football field, he's one of the best running backs to ever play the game. And it's unfortunate that got overshadowed again by everything else that took place with him post playing career. And I don't know that we necessarily need to rehash that. If you don't know about that, you're probably not watching our show. So
yeah, all I'll say on that is I've watched one of these more recently than the other, but if you get a chance and you never watched them on the first go around, 2 sets of documentaries. One is kind of a biopic type situation, the FX series, American Crime Story, obviously focusing just strictly on the trial and the events that followed there. But then the other, the ESPN series, OJ Made in America. Those are 2 of the most fascinating. And this was like a seminal part of my childhood. So this is the trial and ensuing events, that is, of course. Always just kind of been a crazy part of kind of me growing up. Just I remember watching everything on TV, but those 2 documentaries are fascinating, and I'm sure hopefully they're still readily available on streaming, because whoever's got the rights, whoever's hosting those right now, they stand to get a lot of traffic. I know FX should be on Hulu, and then presumably that 30 for 30 is still up on ESPN.
You would think. Looking at this article on ESPN.com, I mean, there's a sentence here. Public fascination with Simpson never faded. And I think that really, that's a sentence that really covers it, I think. So
yeah, I mean, like I said at the very beginning, is you go up and you ask any person who's probably born after the year 2005, and they've got some sort of opinion one way or the other on 3 or 4 different aspects of this guy's life, whether it's his football, whether it's his, I mean, I remember watching him in the Naked Gun movies, back in the day. So this is just a wild case study in just American culture at general, at large, I suppose. And like I said, kind of very shocking and very quiet, and kind of in a weird way ironic that the news comes on Twitter, which is kind of the platform that he had kind of gravitated toward in the later years of his life there.
11 seasons in the NFL, 9 of those with Buffalo. First running back to rush for 2,000 or more yards when he did so in 73 and 14 games. That's doing something right there. 11,236 career yards, and obviously everything else that took place. And he's I think you kind of hit on it, Wade. It's kind of American / pop culture, not just sports, when you talk about O.J. Simpson. So let's take a break from the Lee Company studios. When we come back, we should be joined by Tennessee State Athletics Director MIKKI Allen here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Stay with us.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Back to Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our homes again today as we await the arrival of Dr. Mickey Allen, Tennessee State Athletics Director. Hopefully he will catch up with us here real soon. Later in the show, as I said, it's Throwback Thursday. Wade and I will be throwing it back to a segment that we had, I guess, a week ago Monday when Doug Feinberg of the Associated Press joined us to talk a little women's basketball. We were heading into the second night of the Elite Eight and anticipating the women's Final Four. And as I think about our conversation with Doug, it was pretty remarkable just how on point he was with so many of his points, which was why we decided to go back to that, and also why he's so good at what he does. So looking forward to listening to that again at the top of the hour. And
he was so modest with his commentary as well. He said, well, I don't know if this, or well, I don't know if that.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, little did we know he nailed every one of his predictions pretty much spot on, man. So probably
absolutely. Yeah. Dr. Mickey Allen. Well, we had him on video. There he is. Mickey Allen, Tennessee State University Athletics Director, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Dr. Allen, good afternoon. Hello.
How you doing, crew? How you doing, Reese?
Hey, we're doing.
Hey, Doc.
We can hear you. We got a little bit of a delay, but yeah, we can hear you. Everything going okay on your end?
Yeah, everything's smooth, man. We just getting ready for our Hall of Fame induction ceremony, which is tomorrow at the Grand Hyatt, and we'll be inducting 25 legendary athletes from the historic Tennessee State athletic department, man. And so we're proud about that in our upcoming spring game. Yes, sir. Saturday.
Yeah. That Friday ceremony, now that's sold out, right?
Oh, sold out event, right? And so we haven't had a Hall of Fame banquet since about it. But we got tables of 10 and we sold 70 tables. And so man, people flying, we're
Big
hosting and so we're flying legends from California all the way down to the bottom of Miami coming to this event. So we're pleased about the turnout, about
Mickey, I'm not sure if you can still hear us or not. We kind of lost your audio there. We still got your video, but you were mentioning this is the first Hall of Fame induction class since 2010, I guess, for you all. Mickey, you still there?
I can't hear. Let's see.
Mark, let's disconnect Mickey and bring him back in and see if that helps the situation. How's that?
Maybe smooth it over a little touch there.
Yeah, maybe that second time around we'll get him straightened up. Really excited to talk to Mickey, former Brentwood Academy athlete, former Tennessee football player. First time we've had a chance to get him on the show, and as we were saying, this is Tennessee State's first Hall of Fame induction class since 2010, which I would imagine in part explains the large class. As he said, 25 inductees being recognized tomorrow night over at the Grand Hyatt. And just wanted to get his thoughts because, again, growing up in the area, I know he's got some familiarity with some of these folks to some degree or another, and just looking forward to discussing some of these inductees with him, as well as Saturday's spring game that will be played in Hale Stadium, affectionately known as the Hole. So, again, hopefully
and
we
kind of like MTSU, Mo, they are set for a jam-packed weekend. And the fact that you're able to, what did we hear, just 70
tables of 10.
70 tables of 10. I mean, I'm getting my socks off to get my toes ready to count that up, but seems like a good turnout. And we know that TSU, obviously, even though it's based in Nashville, they have such a wide alumni base. It's kind of cool, like Mickey was telling us there, where everybody's going to be potentially traveling from.
Yeah. It's, again, when you've not done it in such a long period of time, I think that kind of creates an extra level of excitement as well. So that's going to be a great event for them. And, hopefully we can discuss that more with Mickey when we get him back. Meanwhile, you were mentioning, the spring game, and MTSU is playing their spring game this weekend. Like you said, I think UT's spring game is on Saturday up in Knoxville as well. So a lot of folks kind of winding down spring practice. And again, would be great to discuss with Mickey where TSU is with its football as it wraps up spring practice. I know we've discussed the offensive coordinator situation over at TSU with one leaving, another one leaving, and then getting a third one who came down from UT Martin. So they've had some moves on the coaching staff after a fairly successful season under Eddie George. So again, Looking forward to discussing a little football and a little Hall of Fame at TSU with AD Mickey Allen, who is now back with us. Mickey, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
There
now.
we go. Yeah. Yeah, that's way better, man. Appreciate your diligence in getting back with us. As we were saying, this is y'all's first Hall of Fame induction class or induction ceremony since 2010, and with 25 members, you're kind of making up for lost time, I guess, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have big classes to catch up because there's so many legends across our multiple sports programs that we've always offered. But we have all 15 sports that we currently sponsor. Representative from each sport that'll be inducted, plus swimming and diving, and also baseball. We have some alums that are getting in as well. So we're gonna bring those two programs back. So it's just a lot of excitement around it. And like I said, we've been offline almost 14 years, so it's time to go.
There we go. And as I was saying while you were coming back to us, you being from the area, a Murfreesboro native, a former Brentwood Academy football standout, I know you've got some familiarity with some of these folks that are going to be inducted tomorrow night. It's got to feel pretty good to you to be able to recognize these folks.
Absolutely. The one that we have a deceased member going in, King Dunlap. And so if you're from this area, you know about his son who played at Auburn through Brentwood Academy. King Dunlap Jr., his sister that was phenomenal that played at Kentucky, but that family just have an opportunity to recognize the legacy that their father left and the imprint that he left on TSU athletics and our football program is a phenomenal opportunity there. Man, we go on to Robert Covington. Big time NBA star, 3-and-D guy. And so Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. I can go on and on. Gerald McCray, which was a big-time receiver. But all of these individuals that we're honoring, they were very, very much impactful, not only from their respective states, but for the city of Nashville. And it's just such a rich history, Maurice. When you think about our program, from the Tiger Bells, from Ed Temple's group, we have several track athletes going in, all the way to John Merritt's group. And so, just their legacy is so rich. We're trying to continue that. And it's good for our young people that'll be there as well, our current student athletes, to be a part of a ceremony like this because they know what the standard is. And we're showing them that. And they'll be in the presence of greatness. And, it just sets the bar high. And like, hey, it's attainable. You can do it at an HBCU at a high level. And, it's going to be a good night.
Mickey, I'm particularly fascinated because I've always been a baseball fan. I've grown up a baseball fan. You guys are inducting a couple of baseball guys. I'm scrolling through here real quick. Kirk Forbes and Kenneth Joyce, the latter, the father of former TSU defensive back Eric Joyce.
Eric Joyce, right?
Who starred over at Glencliff before starring at TSU. Being able to honor folks, like you said, from those programs that no longer exist on campus, what is the importance of being able to recognize them and that legacy?
To show it that we're very much aware that it was a part of the history of our athletic program. One, that like I said, it's important to know where your feet are. And we know that programs that we got to get back to. I mean, just so much baseball talent across the state. I talked to Mookie Betts. He uses our facilities when he comes back. And his mother, Darlene, she talks about all the talent they poured into some of these RBI, which is a baseball initiative from the MLB. But being able to get that program back is going to be significant for our athletic program because you just never know, how one sport can have a transformational impact on your whole athletic program. And so I really feel we're bringing hockey to the forefront. We'll be the first HBCU program to have hockey. But some of these sports and these windows that we're out of, like swimming, baseball, I'm even thinking about soccer. Are you kidding me? Like the Nashville SC and what they've done here in a short amount of time, knowing that, hey, we can recruit internationally, bring minorities, as well as
other individuals into our program to have soccer here on our campus. We need to be exploring those opportunities. And this opportunity we have to bring those individuals that competed for those programs when they were a part of Tennessee State is the first step.
So you're telling me that baseball is on y'all's radar?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So hockey, we're looking at Division One in 2025, looking at swim and dive in 2026, and soccer, women's soccer, and then baseball, we're going to make a hard push for 2027. Yeah,
you're tugging at our heartstrings with TSU baseball, and then Mickey, I was going to ask you, hockey got so much buzz on the initial announcement, and we're still working toward that process. Kind of what's I guess simply what's going on, and what's the latest as you guys try and make that push to get ready for that inaugural season?
Yeah, so the first step was to make sure that all of our partners knew that we were very serious about this initiative. When we approached the Prez and Sean Henry and that group, they were very welcoming to receive the information on what we wanted to do, but we've had to take the appropriate steps and be strategic in this process. So the first thing was getting a feasibility study done that showed us what this space looked like from a cost analysis standpoint. So we worked with College Hockey Inc. We did a feasibility study that was paid for by the NHL. We talked to individuals from the NHL and said, hey, we need you all to invest your resources and personnel around this initiative. So they did that with assigning Kevin Weisgard to our initiative, who is a big NHL exec. And Gary Bateman as well, who is the commissioner. And so you saw we announced, once we got the feasibility study, we announced hockey that we'd be introducing it at Tennessee State University during the NHL draft, okay? And so that was huge because the world's looking in, and that was a huge platform for us. And so when we had made that announcement, what you start seeing is kids from all over the country, and you think about Canada, the Canadian kids, they're like, hey, I want to be the first. I want to be the first. Well, we have now one of our athletes on campus, Mr. Abel. He's the first individual that believed in this program, and he did so without us hiring a coach. So we're really close. We're going to have a special announcement here next week on our hockey coach, identifying that leader, and then putting a development team around the program to go out and solicit and bring in funding, because it's a very expensive sport. And when we get out here and you talk about ice time, the equipment, some of those costs associated with the sport are very challenging, and that's why you don't see a lot of minorities playing the game, because it's very cost effective to make sure that you have everything in line. And so we're doing that. Our coach will go out and solicit, and we think we got a great plan to introduce it in 2025.
Absolutely. And I'm just waiting for the jersey drop so I can go ahead and get me a sweater. That's all, because I know they're going to be fresh.
Everybody wants one. You'll be one of the first to get one. I can see you and Maurice, man, they wearing it smooth. We got Under Armour is our apparel sponsor, so
we noticed.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, apparel, right, in the HBCU space. I mean, everybody wants a hockey jersey, a hoodie, and we're working on that line, because that's going to be a revenue generating space for us to be able to fund this team. Yeah,
absolutely. Mickey Allen, the Tennessee State Athletics Director, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Mickey, tomorrow night's event isn't the only thing you guys have going on campus this weekend. You got your spring game on Saturday, and hoping the weather gets a little bit better than it is right now for that.
Yeah, it's calling for, we look, I've been watching this rain, but it looks like it's going to clear up tomorrow, which is awesome. That event, on Saturday will just culminate, hopefully a great weekend for our alums and all of our internal and external constituents. We'll have recruits on campus buying with their eyes, right? Coach George is doing a phenomenal job building our program the right way on the football side of the house. I've been very, very pleased with where we are right now. We took a step, and now this year we're going to take a leap in 24. We have a big time schedule ahead of us. We start off John Merritt Classic on August 31st in Nissan against Mississippi Valley State. And then we're going to go over there and see what the Bison is doing with North Dakota State. So that's very much a big anticipated game, as we have a home and home series with an FCS powerhouse. You probably, for those that have been looking in our program, we played Notre Dame. We're out here in spaces that are unique, but we're doing so because we want to attract talent on our campus, and we want to give them an opportunity to play the best, because iron sharpens iron. And as you're building, you want to have a plan to get the proper exposure for your student athletes. And I think that's what we're doing. So that'll be huge Saturday for a lot of recruits. We're bolstering up. You can't have enough line play. And so, hey, we're trying to improve in that area, and we're looking forward to a big time year.
You talk about that North Dakota State game. You had a little extra intel into North Dakota State, and then as quick as you got it, you lost it. How much did that situation affect you all? Do you feel like Mickey bringing in the offensive coordinator and then him taking off for the Iowa State job?
Yeah, well, Tyler Rowe is the coordinator that you're referencing. We had one of the best that we felt in FCS football. Tyler had just kind of the nature of college football. His best friend ends up getting elevated because the coordinator took a job with the Rams, and then he got elevated, and he brings Tyler on shortly or subsequently after we hired him. And so, but he has, I don't know if you all remember Mark Shamira, big time tight end, Brett Favre.
Oh, yeah.
So his Tyler, when he was here, he had two assistants, Seth and Dylan Shamira, our offensive line coach and tight ends coach. And then, so we still have them in the building, which they know his system because they work with him at North Dakota State. So we have that, and we said, okay, now we got to adjust and go get one of the best coordinators and young minds in the game. And so we feel we had that in Travis Partridge. Travis, if you know the history, his father, has been a part of great offenses at UT Martin with Travis Simpson. So we got a little intel from Martin, Tennessee in our building. And so that ain't bad, because that's quite honestly, that's who we're chasing. SEMO, UT Martin. So let's go get them.
Absolutely. Mickey, we appreciate your time, man. And again, appreciate your diligence in getting back with us after some technological issues there the first time around. But sounds like you guys have a great event tomorrow night, and I know that's going to be a lot of fun for you. And like we said, hopefully this weather clears off for you on Saturday, and y'all have another great one with the spring game. But thank you.
I appreciate it, Reese. And man, the work you've always done has been highly professional in this area. You've covered sports in all facets, man. And so you're a gem, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you soon. When we come back on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, I guess we're going to talk a little Braves. Very little. Stay tuned. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
April 11th, 1963, Warren Spahn goes the distance, scattering 6 hits and striking out 5 as the Milwaukee Braves down the visiting New York Mets 6-1. It was the 328th victory of Spahn's career, making him the all-time leader among left-handers. That was this day in Braves history. Could have used Mr. Spahn today, because the Braves just had a position player on the mound to close out the 9th in a 16-4 shellacking by the Mets to close out this rain-shortened series at Truist Park. So we are in the bottom of the 9th and just trying to get this one over with. Things aren't a whole lot better for the Astros after falling 11-2 last night at Kansas City. They're down 9-1, but they gave up all 9 of those in the top of the first. In the bottom of the first. And actually, the Astros just scored again.
Come on.
So it's 9-2 in the top of the 6th. Chipping away are the Astros. So
just trying to get a little back. You can't get it all back with one hit, Mo. You just gotta chip away at it.
Gotta, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So at least you guys are chipping back, because I think that the Braves just need to kind of pack it up and get to Miami. Of course, now getting to Miami may not necessarily be a whole lot of fun either, because 2-10 going into their matchup last night at Yankee Stadium. As you pointed out, we had a local boy on the mound, and he came through. Ryan Weathers, 5 scoreless innings, 3 hits, walked 3, 1 strikeout, but danced around all that to pick up his first win of the season as the Marlins defeated the Yankees 5-2. So he improves to 1-1 on the year with that performance, followed by 4 relievers who combined to give up 3 hits and 2 runs. So 5 shutout for Ryan. You got to take that.
Yeah, 5 shutout innings versus the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. I mean, picking up his first win of the season, like you said, that's a solid little, maybe a little momentum booster for Mr. Weathers, for a guy that's kind of been up and down the last couple of years. Be nice
Mm-hmm.
to see him. It's good to see him get off on a pretty decent start here. Maybe you can keep that mojo rolling.
And it was a great start, for a Marlins team that had lost its first 11 of 12 to start before getting that win last night. So Ryan's first win in almost exactly a year.
Wow.
With San Diego last April 11th, that was his last victory. So that's hopefully he can get a few more this year, like you said.
Hey, real quick, speaking of local guys, I meant to squeeze this in yesterday, but I got to give a quick shout out. More so in Murray County, but we don't have as many hotshot prospects here in Giles County. But Ben Peoples is a former GCHS grad, and he's been with the Tampa Rays, and he had his first start earlier this week in AA with the Montgomery Biscuits. Got a win, kind of similar to Ryan Weathers. 5 innings, 5 strikeouts, just 1 walk, only gave up 3 hits. And it's going to be fun to watch him. I got to see him. He was in Bowling Green last year with the Hot Rods, is an all-time name. But
so he went from the Hot Rods to the Biscuits then, huh?
He's with the Biscuits, and I've been to work used to take me to Montgomery quite a bit. It's a fun environment down there, and the food and the mascot are great, if nothing else. But kind of keeping our eyes on Ben, and he was ranked in the Rays top 50 prospects heading into this season. Nice. So who knows really how high he could go, but he's got good stuff on the mound, and he got a win in his first start.
That's great. I've not been to that stadium in Montgomery. I've been by it. It looks like one of those great historical venues, and it looks like it's got some character to it. I wouldn't mind getting to a game down there at some point. I assume biscuits are available in the concession stands or somewhere there.
Yep, and they got just about anything. Biscuit. One of the most comfortable shirts I own is a Montgomery Biscuits T-shirt, and I mean it's like wearing air. And it's a light blue biscuit. The only tragic part is the mascot is not the biscuit with the butter in the mouth. They actually have another odd mascot that's kind of a logo mascot only, because I was kind of devastated when I showed up to the park wanting to take a picture with a giant biscuit, and I was a little disappointed.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because I went to a Biloxi Shuckers game last summer, and no oysters, no Shucker T-shirts, anything like that. It was a little disappointing as well. So yeah, I get where you're coming from on that. Wow.
The good news is also with Montgomery being in AA, I probably wouldn't drive all the way back to Montgomery again after, again, we were there a lot over the years at Martin Methodist. But the good news is going to be in Huntsville a couple times this year, and we'll also be in Chattanooga a couple of times this year, which would be nice.
Much closer. You can go see them against the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Talk about a mascot matchup made in heaven. The Trash Pandas and Biscuits versus the Biscuits. That'll be a good one.
You got to like that. I've been by that Toyota field down in, I guess it's Madison. It's technically not Huntsville, but that, as new facilities go, that looks like a nice one as well. So and Huntsville's not a bad drive. So yeah, beats Montgomery.
Yes. Could do with like I said, enjoyed the time down there, but that phase of my life has passed me by, so probably won't be making the trip this year.
Yeah, I get it. As we said, the Sounds were rained out yesterday down at Memphis. They were supposed to play a midday game, specifically a 12:05 start. That game has been rescheduled for 5:05 tomorrow to open a doubleheader. They do play at 6:45 tonight. And again, we will visit with Jeff Hem, the Nashville Sounds play-by-play announcer, at around 2:20 tomorrow. So looking forward to catching up with him and catching up on the Sounds here in the next bit. Wade, what else do we need to talk about here as we close out this segment?
This is not baseball related, but I just got to get it off my chest. I was going to get it in the grab bag. But remember yesterday, Mo, we talked about the Preds hockey tickets would be on sale today. And yesterday was International Siblings Day. So I was, trying to piggyback on that. Sister was tied up today. She said, hey, if you can scoop Preds tickets, I'll pay you back. No problem.
Mhm.
So I get online right at 10 o'clock. I'm in the queue, not very long at all. And I add 4 tickets to the cart, and I was denied not once, not twice, not even 3 times. I was denied 4 different times. And I get why they're doing it, but I was denied because my geolocation was incorrect somehow. And I tried it on Wi-Fi. I tried it on cellular data.
What difference did it make where you were buying from?
Because it's to protect the home stadium. So you can only buy the tickets if you're from Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, I think was included. There's like 4 states that are included. The rest are basically blocked out.
Oh.
And I get why they're doing it, but it was so annoying. And our publisher at the Citizen, Scott Stewart, was like, why are you so frustrated over there? I said, I ain't got time to explain that. But I was left at the altar 4 different times. So now I'm up to by then, as you know, the tickets were all gone. So now I'm left to the secondary market gods.
Oh, well, good luck with that. That's tough, especially from the standpoint that you don't even know who you're playing yet.
Don't know the date. Don't know who you're playing.
So
I mean,
if that being the case,
if you're playing Vancouver, I really don't see the need to block it off like that.
Right. I mean, that being the case, you don't know who the opponent is. So it's not like the opponent is trying to buy those tickets up.
Yep. I took a screenshot and sent it to my sister of the error. I got the same error 4 different times. Like I said, I tried it on Wi-Fi and I tried it on my cell phone data, and I was shut out. So I'm a little bummed. And as you know, the secondary market can be a fickle place and a scary place to be. So I don't know that a Preds game, at least this round, will be in my future.
Yeah, you just gonna have to take the bad sibling title there, I think, on that one. But so what was your geolocation?
It never alerted me. It just prompted an error. And I'll tell you what, the main thing is I was really nervous that I was going to have about 4 different charges for like $600 times 4. I went straight to my credit card. I went straight to my email. None of that was luckily processed, but I was a little nervous that there was going to be about $3,000 worth of hockey tickets
that you didn't get.
Yeah, that I didn't get, most importantly. So tickets are still available. Maybe. I was looking for just the cheapest price to get in the building. Honestly, I'm not interested in paying $400 to sit lower level.
Right.
And so with that being said, maybe we'll try it one more time. But other than that, I'm going to have to throw in the towel and just retire. Big brother duties will have to just be what they be from here on out.
Buy her some flowers. It'll be all right.
Yeah, we'll set it up that way.
Hey, when we come back to the Lee Company studios for the second hour of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, is Throwback Thursday. We will re-air our visit with Doug Feinberg of the Associated Press. So stay with us after this break.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Throwback Thursday, hour number 2 here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. Wade, Neely, and I coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our respective homes, and we are headed to our Throwback Thursday segment. Our visit from Monday, a week ago, I guess that would have been April Fool's Day, huh? When we were fortunate enough to catch up with Associated Press National women's basketball writer Doug Feinberg as he was getting ready for the second night of the Elite Eight, which was pretty much the marquee night of those two nights, as you had Iowa and LSU, and you had UConn and USC deciding the second half of the Final Four. And neither of those games disappointed, and neither did Doug. So check this out. We are now joined by Associated Press women's basketball writer Doug Feinberg. Doug, where are you?
I am in lovely Albany, New York, the calm before the storm, so to speak, of the game tonight between Iowa and LSU.
The calm
Doug, LSU and I were playing in women's basketball. I had no idea.
So supposedly there's a game in about a couple hours here. Yeah, should be a couple people watching. I think I turned my computer to show you the fans outside the door right now. This is probably a better view than just me, but I promise you that there are a lot of people already lined up an hour and a half before the gates even open.
Wow,
that's pretty amazing, and folks need to know that. I think that kind of atmosphere is being created for women's basketball, which makes what happened in Portland yesterday even worse. Doug, can you explain that?
Explain? No. How it happened? I know the answer how it happened. Apparently, when they were building the court, they were 9 inches off where they're supposed to be on the baseline. How it actually happened? How do you do that? It's an NCAA tournament. This company should have double, triple, quadruple checked, made sure everything was fine. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the NCAA to have to deal with this. It's embarrassing for Connor Sports to have to deal with this. This has been one of the greatest years in the history of women's basketball in college, and all people are talking about are how the three-point line was off in Portland, or how there was a nose ring issue here in Albany a couple of games ago with Notre Dame, where the rule is you can't wear jewelry, but it wasn't really enforced all year until that game. So that's what people are talking about, instead of the great play on the court, where you have this unbelievable game tonight potentially. You have two of the other great players in Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins playing in the late game tonight in Portland, yet we're focused on other stuff, which I understand why, but it's unfortunate for the sport.
I think you encapsulated it. You understand why, and it's absolutely unfortunate. I mean, this is the kind of thing that, you don't want to say it's laughable, but it makes you look at the situation askew. Obviously, it's just tough to it's tough to kind of take it seriously when you've got that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, you're right.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that one thing that's lost, and I'm not making excuses here at all. It was only the top of the key that was off by the 9 inches or wherever it was, 10 inches. The corner threes were fine. The wing threes were fine. So, like, it's not like the entire three-point line was off. It was just that one part up top, which obviously is the easiest to shoot from, if you ask a shooter, I think, for the most part. But it's not like every shot from three was taken from the one area that was a little off.
Short, yeah. It's I'd be interested. I mean, I don't know if the coaches or the teams that were involved in that one made mention after the game of whether it made a difference or anything like that. But it's just not a great look at a time where the game, like you said, is advancing in leaps and bounds, and then you've got something like that going on.
Yeah, I mean, the game is the healthiest and best it's ever been. I'll say it, I think there's more attention on the women's tournament this year coming into the tournament. Forget what happened in this round with Portland and some of the other stuff, the hotel issue in Spokane with such. But the coming into the tournament, if you ask someone, hey, can you name 5 women's basketball players and 5 men's basketball players? I think it's probably a better shot casual fan could name more women's players than men's players, which I've never seen before.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that's something that they really need to be able to build on, both the NCAA and the WNBA. You'd like to hope. So, yeah, you talked about these 2 games tonight, Doug. Iowa and LSU, and then UConn and USC. Obviously, everybody has been waiting with bated breath for this Iowa LSU game for obvious reasons. It's a rematch of the national championship game, and Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese right now move the needle as much as anyone in women's basketball.
Yeah, they do. No question. And people are excited for this game. I guess the one thing that people are saying, I agree with it, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's sad that this is a Elite 8 game and not being played in Cleveland next week in the Final Four. And listen, LSU didn't have the season they probably wanted to have, lost a couple more games than they probably should have with the talent they have, which is why we're seeing them play now with a Final Four bid at stake. But, man, there's excitement around this game. I mean, everyone's talking about it. Everyone's looking to see it. I don't think it's going to do the same ratings it did last year on the championship game just because it's not on ABC, it's on ESPN, so a little less eyeballs that can watch it, I think, that way. But I wouldn't be shocked if you get 7-8 million people watching this game tonight.
Yeah, Doug, I was just going to say, Doug, I'm glancing on SeatGeek right now, and I mean, the cheapest ticket to get in the door, close to $200 right now, it looks like.
Yeah, that's probably right. I mean, I've heard people trying to get tickets, and they can't unless they want to spend more than they probably should or want to spend to get in the door. Which, listen, if I was a casual fan of basketball, I'm in the area, I'd want to spend money to watch these 2 teams play because I think it's going to be a really, really exciting game for the fan to watch in person and at home on TV.
Here's what's funny, for all the talk about Caitlin Clark and for all the talk about Angel Reese, Flaw J. Johnson may be the best player on the floor tonight.
She's been great. She has really carried them in the last couple games. She's matured as a player, and she plays with so much joy. I mean, there was a play the other night. She blocked 6'7" Lauren Betts' shot on one end, got the ball, went the other way, got called for a charge, if I remember correctly, but still was smiling afterwards. She was so excited to do that. She makes every big shot for LSU. It really, I think it's her team right now. As great as Angel is, this is a guard's game, and Flage is really the guard who controls and makes LSU go. And you're 100% right. She is fantastic to watch.
What are your feelings about this ball game? How it plays out?
That's a great question. Listen, I think LSU has the size that if it's officiated with the correct way, which is always a question in college basketball, unfortunately, you never know what you're going to get. And I know some really good officials that did some of the earlier rounds are not here tonight. But LSU has the size that could give trouble to Iowa. I think if Iowa can get out and run the floor and make a more up-tempo game, so if the score is in the mid-70s or 80s, I think it favors Iowa. If it's in the 50s or 60s, I think that's more trouble for Iowa and favors LSU. If you're asking me on the spot right now who I predict to win this game, I like the best player in the country being Caitlin Clark is going to find a way to win it. But I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, if LSU, as defending champs, comes away with victory. So is that enough of a hedge for you guys there?
That's plenty of a hedge, and we will accept that. In the nightcap, like you said, Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, and there could be instances where they're matched up on each other, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, Paige plays anything from the 1 to the 4 for UConn, depending on where she is and who's in the game. Although they only really play 5 and like a quarter players right now. He doesn't really sub much because half the team is hurt. But that'll be fun to watch. I mean, Paige is a decent defender on the ball, much better off the ball. And Juju is so fantastic to watch. She can get to the basket. She's got a nice pull-up. She can shoot from 3. She is the future of women's basketball as well as the present. And just really excited to see. I'll sort of go ahead of. I think you'll probably ask me who I think is going to win it.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I figure you'll get to that eventually, so I might as well throw it out now. I like UConn's experience. I just think that they have enough players that have been there and won big games. I think USC is great. I think the transfers they got from the Ivy Leagues, from my alma mater, Caitlin Davis, who's playing for them now from Columbia, I think helps them immensely. I just think UConn is going to find a way to win the game and get back to the Final Four, starting a new streak. They made it 14 years in a row, and that ended last year. I think they'll get back again.
Doug,
so you think their experience offsets their lack of depth then?
Yeah, I think they're smart enough how to play without getting real foul trouble. Again, you have the question of who's officiating, how they're tightly going to call things or not. And I'm trying not to harp on the officials, but it's unfortunately something you see is that how they can affect the outcome of games, whether people get in foul trouble or not. And it's unfortunate. They're doing the best they can, but I think it needs to probably be reviewed at some point, the officiating in women's basketball, to catch up some of them to where the game is. But yeah,
Doug,
I think
this would probably be a good time for me to tell you that both Wade and I are graduates of Middle Tennessee State.
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
It's good to know that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, so we know exactly whereof you speak. What was your takeaway from yesterday's games?
South Carolina is really good. They're but I'll say that I think they're beatable. They're not one of these unbeatable teams. They're young. You saw they can play so well. If they're playing their best, no one beats them. But you saw in the second half yesterday, or the fourth quarter, I should say, where Oregon State made a run, and the game before that, Indiana was down 22 and made a run where it got interesting. But that said, South Carolina made the plays down the stretch to win both those games. So they're a very, very good team. They're the best team in the country. Are they a slam dunk, so to speak, to win the national championship? No. Are they the heavy favorite? Yes. Would I be shocked if they lost? No.
Yeah, Doug, that's what I was going to get into on the flip side of the bracket with South Carolina. Obviously, with a little bit of a scare versus Indiana, and obviously it's a little bit of a scare at times with Oregon State. Is this a team, though, that in your mind that, maybe we had a couple blips earlier in the tournament, but now you kind of see them recalibrate and kind of ramp back up? Is that maybe the last scare that we potentially have had? Or I guess maybe you kind of alluded to, you wouldn't necessarily be shocked to see them drop a game, whether it's in the Final Four or the championship, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when UConn lost to Mississippi State years ago in the Final Four, everyone was shocked. Like, that was like no one saw that coming. UConn was an unbeatable juggernaut, and it was pure stunningness to it. This one, South Carolina is unbeaten, a really great job. Dawn Staley has done such a masterful job with 5 new starters in the lineup and get him to keep on winning and be undefeated and play really well. It's not the same level to me of if they somehow lose, I'm not completely stunned. I'd be surprised, but not that awe factor of, oh my God, I can't believe this happened.
NC State 76, Texas 66. Was Texas the weakest number one?
What Coach Schaefer did to get them to be a number 1 seed and to the Elite 8, losing his star player, Rory Harmon, is unbelievable. I mean, she was the best player on that team coming into the season. She played well for the first month before she got hurt. And he recreated the team with Madison Booker, another really talented freshman, moving to the point spot, basically point forward, and they were fantastic. So And again, I thought they did a great job. Were they the weakest number one? You could probably say that. But what they did should not be diminished by any stretch because they lost to an NCAA state team that at times, as we saw yesterday, is one of the best teams in the country. They proved it early in the year. They beat UConn. They beat Colorado. They're really, really good. But Texas had a phenomenal year, just had one bad game yesterday.
Doug Feinberg of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Doug, you mentioned Madison Booker. You mentioned Juju Watkins. You know, we've not talked about Audie Crooks, but have you seen more impactful freshmen in 1 year? You know, Hannah Hidalgo at Notre Dame. Have you seen more impactful freshmen in 1 year at any point in this sport?
No, I haven't. And that's why I'm so happy and so enthusiastic about the future of the sport. That everyone's like, oh, Caitlin Clark graduates or leaves. People aren't going to care anymore. All you have to do is turn on any of those players you just named, watch them play. You're like, wow, they're really good. And there's another 5 or 6 out there as well. And the group coming in is also really good. So I'm excited for the future of the sport based on those players and how they're actually spread out across the country. It's not one team. It's not Tennessee. It's not UConn that has all of them. They're spread out everywhere. And I think it's going to be really exciting to watch women's basketball continue to grow over the next 4 or 5, 10 years.
And it's interesting that you mentioned Tennessee, which doesn't have any of those. And hopefully the next coach can go get a couple because they've got an opening. What was your reaction or your response to the news that Kelly Harper has been dismissed at UT?
It feels like I'm using the phrase surprised but not shocked a lot today. And I was surprised. I mean, I thought she did a nice job. You have to wonder if they hit one more defensive stop in the SEC tournament to South Carolina, would you still have her job right now? And that's a question for their AD. I think that they're going to probably have to go outside the Tennessee family to find the next coach. I know people are throwing on Carol Lawson's name. She's building something at Duke that's pretty good. I don't know if she'd want to leave there to go to Tennessee. I think she probably could have had that job when Kelly was hired, and she obviously didn't want it or didn't take it. So I think they have to go outside the family and build from outside in to get them back to the level that Tennessee fans are accustomed to.
Who is that?
If I knew that, I'd be a fortune teller. I know people are throwing around Scott Rueck's name, the Oregon State coach. I'd be surprised. I'd be shocked at that one because I think he's from Oregon State, went to school there, loves that program. Obviously, he's done a great job building there. I would think that Tennessee probably hires a female coach based on past, but maybe they're going completely different and will hire a male. Who knows? It's so fresh. I haven't really had a chance to focus on who could be that next coach. I mean, I do have this game tonight I have to start focusing on at some point. But there will be no shortage of candidates, I think, for that job.
Yeah, I guess maybe a different way to phrase that question, Doug, is Tennessee still a big enough job where they're going to land a major, quote unquote, major candidate, or is this this cycle potentially one where Lady Vols fans may have to, quote unquote, settle for a middle tier type candidate, at least on paper, heading into this search?
I think it's still one of the top 10 jobs in the country, no question. They're not used to coaching searches. They've had, 3 coaches in the history of the program, something like that, since Pat Summitt. So I think it's still a really good job. If the athletic department wants to pay and obviously invest in the programs they've done for so long, it's one of the top jobs in the country, no question. When Gino Auriemma retires from Connecticut, I would be a little bit more concerned about that job and that program falling off a fair amount. Tennessee's in the SEC. They're going to want to be competitive. They want to be good. I would think that's still one of the top jobs in the country.
While we have you with your crystal ball out, and you mentioned the game that you're getting ready to cover tonight, how many points do we think Caitlin puts up? Does Caitlin have to have one of those crazy performances again tonight for Iowa to win in your mind?
I'll phrase it this way. I think she has to account for 60 points tonight. When I say account for, I mean between assists and points. So she is the 30 and 15 she had the other night, or 29 and 15. That's probably good enough to do it. If she goes 40 and 10, that's probably good enough to do it. If she goes 35 and 5, I think they're in trouble.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. And I'm going to try to keep that in mind as the night progresses. So she has to account for 60 points. Okay. Who do you like when they all get together in Cleveland? Now,
Well,
obviously, you only know who two of the teams in Cleveland are, but who do you like?
Well, if we go with my picking Iowa and UConn based on the conversation before,
Mm-hmm.
I think South Carolina beats NC State. I think it'll be a good game, but I think South Carolina beats them. And then UConn, Iowa. We saw that matchup I saw it in the bubble 4 years ago when Clark and Beckers were freshmen, and UConn came away with the win. That UConn team was better than the one that's playing now. I think Iowa's better than the team that they were back then. So that would go South Carolina, Iowa in the finals. And that would be a pretty good ratings draw, I would think. And it's one covering, and it'd be a lot of fun to do that. So
that would be a barn burner right there.
If I'm wrong and LSU wins tonight, an LSU versus South Carolina rematch, that would definitely be very good as well based on the SEC tournament final, which we all know was exciting for a lot of reasons, including, unfortunately, some issues on the court at the end of the game with players getting a little bit too excited. We'll call it that.
Yeah. Great. Doug Feinberg of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Doug, we appreciate it. Know you got a game to get ready for, and we'll let you do that. But thank you so much for your time, and hope to catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, fellas. Enjoy the game tonight.
Appreciate it. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Throwback Thursday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton, along with Wade Neely. Again, thanks to Doug Feinberg of the Associated Press for hanging out with us about a week and a half ago, talking women's Elite Eight / Final Four. Quick update. The Braves finally put us out of our misery here a little bit ago, falling 16-4 to the Mets. And that's about all I'm going to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say. We now go to Emily Crowell, Assistant Executive Director of the Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association. Emily, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's going on?
You know, this is a little bit of a lull before we get into spring sport championships. So April's a good time for me.
The calm before the storm, and giving you time to recover from the state basketball tournaments. 3 weeks of that in Cookeville and Murfreesboro, and getting ready for the week of hell, as you said, spring fling right before Memorial Day over in Murfreesboro. But spring fling will look a little different this time around for one sport in particular. Walk us through how we got to where we are in softball.
Yeah, so I think it was a long time coming, but I actually assembled a committee of softball coaches this year to just kind of guide me as I took over softball when Bernard left, just kind of get a voice for what's going on in the softball world. And one of the common refrains was just elevating that state championship, especially the final game, to the next level. And that's something we like to do in a lot of our sports is play them at college venues if we can. And so, I approached MTSU and they were willing and excited about that opportunity. So I'm excited that we're going to have all of the final games this year played over at MTSU.
So that'll be Division I and Division II championship games will
Correct.
all be at MTSU. Will those be over a 2-day period, Thursday and Friday, or will they all be on Friday, or how will that take place?
Yeah, it'll be a 2-day period. The Division II schedule will change a little bit. They'll have to come in on Tuesday, which they're not used to doing. But I think from hearing from those D2 coaches, I think that's going to be a positive thing to spread their tournament out. So D2 championships will be on Thursday, and then all of the Division I championships will be played on Friday.
Okay. And like you said, elevating that is it's been at the least a murmur among softball supporters, coaches, parents, that kind of thing. You do it for baseball. Well, and I don't know what kept it from taking place any sooner, but better late than never. Obviously, I think it's a great move. Now, the tournament format is going to change a little bit too. Is that right?
That's correct. The brackets will look a little bit different. Basically, in Division I, we bring 8 teams for each class. They will each be put kind of into 2 brackets of 4, and they'll play out similar to what we do in baseball now, but they'll play out that bracket. So any if games will be played before they get to that final championship, and that's just scheduling wise what we have to do.
So basically, it'll just be 2 4-team double elim brackets.
Correct.
And then those 2 champions per se will play in the championship game, and it'll be 1 game on Friday at, as Chip calls it, Observatory Park. Chip Walters, the Blue Raider voice, referred to it as that. It's right there next to the observatory on the campus of MTSU. So
yeah, I got a little of that history when I went to look at it. So yep, we'll be there on Friday for D1.
Okay. And I'm sure that's been received well.
What I have heard, yes. I'm sure, everything we do, we can't please everyone, but I think it's going to be a positive thing. I'm excited for the girls to have that opportunity just to play, in a college atmosphere. We know that a lot of those girls, they're never going to get the chance to play at a college. Like their career is going to end after high school. And so to let them have that experience is great. And then some of them, will go on and this is just the start to the next part of their softball careers.
Yeah, Emily, from a, perception standpoint, maybe, but really internally, How exciting is this for you guys? Kind of evening the playing field, as it were, but like you said, also kind of just giving that extra opportunity for some young ladies that are not going to be able to go on to the next level to end their career potentially at a state championship venue like MTSU.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. I'm personally very excited for them to have that chance. I think, we work a lot. I work a lot with our middle school association as well. And for those championships, we try to play at least at a high school venue, just so it's the next step of what you might be able to see. But same thing with middle school. There's a lot of those kids that don't go on to play at the high school. So it is that elevation that we like, that this is a state championship. This is a big deal. You worked hard to get here, and this is the reward.
Absolutely. And we'll dive more into spring. And then obviously we got some other exciting news to get into. But I guess real quick, let's backtrack just a touch. Well, what were some big takeaways, I guess maybe either positive or negative for you guys coming out of 2 weeks, specifically in Murfreesboro with basketball this year?
Well, that schedule is a challenge, and we tried something new, doing 8 games a day. I think there were pros and cons to it. If you were there, you might have experienced some of those. It's hard to say, in one way, it's good for the teams to not have to be in Murfreesboro as long if we do 8 games a day, but it is, it's a lot, especially on the staff and the media and people who are there all day long, being there from 9:30 in the morning until potentially 11 at night. It's a long day.
There were some zombies walking around the Murphy Center a few of those days, and Mo and I were a few of them, I think.
I think I was in that group as well.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that over the course of those 2 weeks, and with the week before in Cookeville as well. Emily, you're basketballed out by the Saturday night of the boys' championships, I would imagine.
Yeah, that is true. I was surprised to find myself watching, the college tournaments after, but it's a lot of basketball. We do 68 games in 3 weeks. It's a lot.
She knows the number, Wade. 68 games. Emily Crowell, Assistant Executive Director of the Tennessee Secondary School Athletic Association, sometimes known as the TSSAA, joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by TOA of Columbia. A lot of initials. Emily, softball, that tweak, everybody's looking forward to it. There was some more news with girls sports as the Legislative Council sanctioned girls flag football earlier this week as an emerging sport. Now, explain what that means.
Yeah, so an emerging sport is kind of a new classification that's going to go into our bylaws. This is something, we had kind of asked for. We get approached a lot about, how many schools do we need to sanction a sport? And we didn't really have an answer to that. So emerging sport is going to be basically sanctioned exactly the same as every other sport. There's just not going to be a championship until we see a little bit more growth and geographic representation throughout the state before our board would add a championship. But for emerging sports, we want 15% of our membership committed to participation in that sport, and that's what we have with girls flag football now. So that's very exciting. We've been working with the Titans on this for several years, so very excited to see that growth and officially get that sanctioned.
15% of your membership is what is needed to qualify as an emerging sport.
Correct.
How many schools are there in the TSSAA?
So there's about, for high school, there is about 470 in our membership. We did remove the schools that have that are co-op only or have only joined for one sport. That we have a handful of schools that might join just because they have one athlete that's interested. So it's right at 400. So we're looking at least 60 schools to be at that 15% threshold.
Okay. And we're there for girls flag now?
We are, yes. So we have several schools that are committed to coming on over the next year, and so that puts our number at between 71 and 73 right now. And since sanctioning, we've had a little more interest in the past few days, so I think we'll definitely be well over that number.
That's great. Now I know Williamson County, which was the pilot program for the TSSAA and the Tennessee Titans, They're in their third season now. Metro Nashville Public Schools are in their second season. Clarksville Montgomery County is in their second season. We talked to Josh Corey, or I talked to him offline 2 or 3 weeks ago. He said Hamilton County is starting up this year, and there is a 4-team group, I guess, or a 4-school group over along the plateau with Cumberland County, Stone Memorial, and 2 other schools that I cannot remember. But
yes, I think White County was in that, and yeah, there is one other right in that area.
Okay, and so can you say who else you're expecting to come along here in the next bit?
I know that Knox County is working on something right now, so that's another 13 to 15 schools. They're trying to decide. Part of the emerging sport is we haven't said for sure what season. So as an emerging sport, they can play it whenever. So Knox County is trying to decide if they want to do that in the fall or the spring. It does look like this will be a spring sport once we get to championship level, and I'm really hoping it only takes about a year for us to get there.
Okay.
Emily, I'm curious. This may be a very naive question, but is there any sort of, I'm not really thinking financially, I suppose, but is there an incentive or any sort of materials that you guys are presenting kind of as a guideline for a school that might be interested in this, or are schools kind of just left up to their own creativity to try and come up with these programs?
Well, for girls flag football, the Titans have been a tremendous resource for us, and they're going to have some options for some grant, like apply for a grant kind of option. So the Titans are great in that respect. They can also provide, it's really not that much equipment and supplies to get started. It's easy. It's one of the easier sports to get started. So we provided a list to our council of what that would take, an estimated cost. But certainly we would be a resource, and the Titans want to keep working with us for that.
What was it like, Emily, to know that Tennessee is one of 10 states to sanction girls flag football? I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a feather in y'all's cap, I would think.
Yeah, I was excited that we went ahead and did it. We talked about, with girls wrestling, for example, like we were the first in a lot of those. And I want us to continue that trend and be a leader in girls sports. We're seeing amazing things for women's athletics, nationally. If you, with basketball, we just saw so much. So I want Tennessee to continue to push that. And so I was excited that we came on board and we're number 10.
I remember asking you the first year of flag football in Williamson County if this is something that you would have pursued had it been available to you, and you seemed a little disappointed that it was not available, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, it's not jealousy, but I would have loved this opportunity as a high school student myself. I think it would have been great. So I'm just happy that, all the girls in our state are going to have that option.
And I know Summit had a young lady the first year that signed a scholarship with a women's flag football program at a college up in Kentucky. There are opportunities out there. This isn't just, ideally you're playing for the love of it because you like it, because you want to do something different, but there are some opportunities on the back end for this.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I talked about during our council meeting is just the growth of girls flag football in the past few years. Nationally, we've seen just tremendous numbers at the youth level. So, those kids are coming into high school soon. And as a result, I know the NCAA president, I think a couple of weeks ago, mentioned that he was hoping to create opportunities for women's flag football. And then, the Olympics sanctioned flag football for 2028. So I think by 2028, we're going to see tons of opportunities, but I'm hoping to see more scholarships at the NCAA level. So yeah, I look forward to seeing where we go from here, and hopefully there's some Tennessee women included in all of that.
Alabama State recently added it, first HBCU to bring it on board. So, those opportunities at the next level are continuing to grow. Emily Crowell of the TSSAA joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Emily, we appreciate it. And be sure and tell Reeves that this was the best move. We tried to get him on here, and he said, Emily would be a way better option, and he was right. So, yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I'll pass that message along.
Be sure and do that. Yeah. Look forward to catching up with you probably over in Murfreesboro here in about a month or so.
Yeah,
Maybe
thank you
6
so
weeks.
much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for covering the exciting news in girls high school sports.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
All right. Before we get out of this segment, we need to hand out a little hardware. Our custom stone handlers in to win life team of the week is the Columbia Academy Lady Bulldog softball team, which lost a nail biter last Monday to Summertown at Summertown 7-6, but came back blasting with 3 straight victories by a total of 45 runs. Outscored 3 opponents. Yes, exactly. Outscored 3 opponents 45-0 in their next 3 wins. So I guess that Summertown game, as Michael Jordan would say, they took that personal.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Just like you said, it's not just putting up the runs, but I mean, putting up the runs and not surrendering. I mean, that's
none. Yeah. Oof. Pretty impressive to say the least. Meanwhile, our TOA Columbia Athlete of the Week is Zion Christian senior Ashlea Coble, the South Alabama signee, hit .538 in 5 games with 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. 5 runs scored, 9 RBIs. She also struck out 23 in the circle and gave up just 1 run in 11 innings as Zion Christian went 3-2 on the week. So congratulations to the CA Lady Bulldogs and to Ashlea Coble of the Zion Christian Lady Eagles, our hardware winners this week. We will step away from the Lee Company studios now and come back for our final segment. We call it the grab bag, as we tie up a few loose ends between now and 4 o'clock. So stay with us when we come back. I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros. Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that EY's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No.
No. Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's just
you got that right, and
that's bottom
there
line.
could be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball. There's a football. There's a baseball. Maybe it's not a puck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
Of Main Street Sports Today, we're coming to you from the Lee Company studios of our homes. Maurice Patton, Wade Neely. First thing we need to touch on here in the grab bag section is the Tennessee Sports Writers Association's Players and Pitchers of the Week for baseball and softball. In baseball, Austin Peay's Brody Zacko, I guess the S is silent, Szako, Hit 4 home runs this past week in back-to-back at bats at Evansville, and then hit 1 each in Austin Peay's 2 wins over Bellarmine. Also had a walk-off single to seal a victory as Austin Peay won its Atlantic Sun series against Bellarmine. On the week, Zacho hit 471 with 8 hits and 17 at bats, drove in 9 runs, had a 1.235 slugging percentage and a 4.74 on base percentage. And he was also named the Atlantic Sun Player of the Week. Tennessee Tech pitcher Peyton Calitri threw 8 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits and a walk while striking out 10 Moorhead hitters in his 5th win of the senior season for Tennessee Tech. So Austin Peay's Brody Zacho, Tennessee Tech's Peyton Calitri, your pitcher and your player of the week, or your player and your pitcher of the week. There we go. Trevecca swept softball honors. Senior first baseman Sidney McCormick, junior pitcher Ashlyn Sensing earning those honors as Trevecca went 4-0 on the week and improved to 14-2 in Great Midwest Conference play. McCormick hit .545, going 6 for 11 with a double and 2 home runs, drove in 5 runs, scored 4. Sensing picked up a pair of victories in the circle, gave up no earned runs, striking out 16 in 12 innings with a pair of complete games and a shutout. 1 walk in 12 innings, allowing just 4 hits. So Trevecca teammates Sidney McCormick and Ashlyn Sensing, your Tennessee Sports Writers Association's player and pitcher of the week this week. Congrats to all. The Masters Open today.
Hey, real quick, Mo, before we get into golf, I just got to give a quick shout out. Coach Sakowitz at Richland, we celebrate all of our programs, but he wanted me to tout the Raiders a little bit. They cracked the top 10 of the TBCA Class 1A poll, checking in at number 8 this week. So Richland chugging along, and some of the other teams in our coverage area, Giles County at least, haven't been doing so hot this year, but the Raiders off to a pretty good start.
Awesome. Under first-year coach Matt S. Sakowicz. There we go. Yeah. All right. Long as you got the mic, give us your Augusta update.
Been checking it out, and really things got off to a fast start. DeChambeau is your clubhouse leader at 7 under. He birdied 1, 2, and 3 to get things going, and then kind of never really slowed down. So he's in the clubhouse. The big dogs are kind of teeing off, a few of the big dogs at least, as Brooks Koepka still to come this afternoon. Tiger Woods is underway. You know, we talk about him always moving the needle. And Mo, he's through 2 holes. He birdied one of his first 2 holes. So LT Gray is off to a decent start, tied for 14th with that 1 under score. Other notable, Scotty Scheffler. This is a wild story, by the way. Scotty Scheffler's 2 under through 11. But earlier this week, and it may have been announced last week, but Scotty Scheffler's wife is expecting, and he has said that he would leave in the middle of the tournament. Now, he didn't throw any qualifiers to my knowledge. He didn't say, well, if I'm outside the top 10, I'll leave. He said he would leave. So,
well, you know, I can understand you saying that, and I can appreciate saying that. Is this his first child?
Their first child. The good news, quote unquote, at least in this instance, is not expected. And, you know, this is obviously taken with a grain of salt, but not expected till the end of the month. But crazy things happen. And yeah, he even doubled down apparently yesterday on camera during the par 3 contest, said, oh yeah, he would dip out. I got a hard time believing, you know, I'm not a father, so I can't speak to this, but man, it would be a really tough situation if you're leading or co-leading going into Sunday in that.
Well, Wade, you know what they say though, right? Mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So, I mean, there's a lot riding on this. I think Scheffler has to just hope that he can get through the weekend and Ms. Scheffler is still on deck, as they say. So,
yep. So, fingers crossed, obviously hope everything works out okay, but that would be a wild situation if that
would be one heck of a decision to have to make, and hopefully it doesn't come to that for him. Making a decision here recently was the principal at the new high school in Murray County, Battle Creek, as Mike Kennard has tapped Justin Burham as the Grizzlies' new football coach. Burham returning to Middle Tennessee. He most recently was offensive coordinator and associate head coach down at Hardaway High School in Columbus, Georgia. He had previously been at Valdosta, which is nationally known as one of the top traditional football powers in the country, but had also served as an assistant at Shelbyville, at DeKalb County, and at Laverne here in the mid-state area. So getting back closer to his home of Oak Ridge will be Coach Burham. We've got coverage of his hire on the website at mainstreetmurray.com and also on mainstreetpreps.com. He becomes the fourth head coach named at the school, which will open with the start of the 24-25 school year, joining Spring Hill baseball coach Paul Lamb, who will be moving over to Battle Creek. Also, Battle Creek Middle School boys basketball coach Donnie Chambers will take over the boys basketball program for the Grizzlies. And Jay Bennett, who had served as an assistant volleyball coach at Columbia Central, will head up that program. So, again, Battle Creek has a new football coach. It was also announced a few weeks ago that Battle Creek will have artificial turf for all of its outdoor fields, football, baseball, softball. Well, now it's joined in Murray County in the artificial turf realm by Mount Pleasant, as the Murray County School Board voted a couple of nights ago to approve turf for, again, their football, baseball, and softball fields. So we also have coverage of that up on the mainstreetmurray.com website.
And I love what you wrote, Mo. You said nobody wanted to hear this, but Mount Pleasant going to get a little faster.
Mount Pleasant's getting faster, y'all. And it's been funny over the last 2 or 3 years covering Mount Pleasant. The first thing that every opposing coach says is they're so fast. Now, Darian Meza, their Class 2A Mr. Football finalist, graduates this year. So you breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief if you are an opposing coach, but then you hear they're getting artificial turf. So yeah, have fun with that, y'all.
Now, a quick question that I just thought of: will those installations, will that include any other amenities to the stadium, or is that purely just playing surface only at that point?
As far as I know, it's playing surface only. I'm not sure what else will come along with that. I think it's just the playing surface, though. But
you know me, I'm thinking, hey, while we got the checkbook out, let's go ahead and change a few things up here.
I think the checkbook is out, but I think there are some limits on said checkbook.
Makes sense.
Congratulations to Dr. Earl Campbell, former Vanderbilt receiver, legendary Vanderbilt receiver, came back to his alma mater to join the football staff under Clark Lee, was announced today as Senior Athletic Director for Strategy and Business Operations. Well, actually, the announcement was yesterday, I guess. But he will continue to support football operations and recruiting, administration, and development of NIL strategy, among other management responsibilities. So a promotion for Dr. Bennett, one of the legends on West End, ended his career as the all-time leading receiver in Southeastern Conference history, was recognized as a 2015 SEC legend and inducted into the Vanderbilt Athletics Hall of Fame in 2017. So it's great for him. And
good for him, and I think good for Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think anytime you've got somebody there who kind of embodies, what it is that you are trying to have your students and your student athletes achieve. And I just think it means more, no pun intended, but when it's somebody at their alma mater doing those type things, I just think it carries a little bit more weight. And so really happy to see Earl being celebrated at Vanderbilt. Got two other things that we need to touch on here, and I guess we'll save the best for last, but the Shohei Ohtani interpreter situation gets more and more curious. Allegations that his interpreter, Ippei Mizuhara, actually misappropriated $16 million. I thought the number was 4.5.
That's what I thought at first. I'm like, hey, hang on. What's going on with the funds here?
Yeah. Apparently directed $16 million from Shohei Ohtani's account to an illegal sports book to cover some gambling debts. He's been charged with bank fraud, could face up to 30 years in jail.
Here's some numbers for you too. Saw this on social earlier. Action Network, who's in the gambling space, they put out the numbers. According to the complaint that was brought forth, Mizuhara placed 19,000 bets. His largest wager was about $160,000. And here's the kicker, Mo: net loss. No, don't really hear much about net winnings in these situations. Net loss of about 40.67 million. And now this part is a little more speculation, and Action Network even includes it. It says an alleged text from Mizuhara to his bookie says, quote, "So I'm kind of terrible at this sports betting thing, huh?" Now, again, Action Network, the numbers supposedly come from the legal documents, but the text, which I suppose also stemmed from there, but they did write that it was an alleged text, so it's not like a meme or anything, but it says, quote, "I'm terrible at this sports betting thing, huh? Yeah, if you're down about $40 million,
might be time
I'd say
to
you're
stop.
I'd say you're pretty bad.
Might be time to stop. Another alleged text to his bookmaker after news of the scandal broke late last month. Technically, I did steal from him. It's all over for me.
Oof.
And I think he can bank on that.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good end. Now the other interesting thing is, did I not read a tweet too last night that this is essentially MLB at least is kind of saying, hey, we're done here. We're moving on. And I just thought, man, that seems awful quick for what potentially could be a really explosive scandal.
Move along. Nothing to see here. 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a gambling problem. Somebody should have passed this number along to Mr. Mizuhara at some point before he got 40 million deep.
I mean, the White Sox are 2-10. They haven't even had a chance to win 5 games yet, or the Astros haven't even won 5 games yet. We're already talking about this scandal being over.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We did not get to talk as much about the Kentucky situation as I would have liked, but Bryce Drew has apparently turned them down. I'm terribly, terribly intrigued to see where they go. So I'm sure we'll talk about that more tomorrow when we have a full house, as Chris Yao is scheduled to join Wade and I in the Lee Company Studios in Columbia. So let's do that. 2 o'clock tomorrow, Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We'll see you then.